hello there, humans, bees, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough to be doing it too. I'm Bushka, Wot Blitz, and I'm actually back today to have a chat to you about a recent bunch of battles that went on the NA. So this is Pramo versus TK in the regular Gold Series tournament that pops up on all servers during the week. This is the Tier 10 variant of the tournament series. You can get involved really, really quickly, anytime you want, anyhow you want. Now, there is a little bit of history between these two clans. TK is actually something that's popped up since the Twister Cup, and it's led by the indomitable Vovko, one of the lovely blokes on the NA server. You've probably seen him on channel before with me. Some other great blokes in here. You got Raikkonen, Juju. There's basically a bunch of people that can really tank very, very well here. Now, Pramo is fighting TK on Castilla, and then they are fighting together again on Canal, and then if needed, the tiebreaker will be on Himmelsdorf. Vovko in the Musketeer there. He loves that thing. Drove it great at Twister. Really, really good player. You can see Juju in the Pramo there, over there on the left. There's Maverick on the right. We've got lots of dudes. B-Walker's on the other side. Bro Dude Leg. Lots of people that if you've been watching the channel for all and you watched any of the Twister Cup streams, you'd recognise in these games. Now, the big thing for me about these games it shows just how cool tournaments are and how much the scene has changed on NA. I think this is just a gloriously positive thing overall for tanking on the North American server, because there's now two clans here going on and having a crack. When it was Pramo just running everything out of the one camp and you had Pramo and Purple basically joined at the hip, you really had a lot of same strategies. And you're going to see the strats from the teams vary tremendously in these games. It's really healthy for the server and for tournament tanking as a whole. Now, Pramo got to the grand final through the losers bracket. They actually got beat 2-0 by TK on Winter Melanovka, and they had to fight their way up here and get a rematch in a best of 5 at the top end of the table. And you can see they're definitely behind the 8 ball here, but they've made a big move here on the very, very westernmost edge of the flank. And they're running back up through spawn, looking to recap A, and the Crimson Chin from TK in the M48. That's a great name. The Crimson Chin. And he's getting pushed on there by 2 IS-7s. The boys from TK are caping B, which is a very, very solid move. You've seen the pressure. The Crimson Chin's obviously in amongst it. They strike one back. There's a Grill 15 sitting up there who's finally spotted, but there's nothing worse than having to shoot someone and absolutely having to make it and driving an IS-7, because although it's got wonderful armor, the gun is akin to throwing a potato at a wall. You just never know how it's going to hit and where it's going to go afterwards. You can see big problems there for Bro Dude Leg. Vovko pumping around in the Musketeer, and it's got to be said that the guys from TK are well and truly in the ascendancy on this map. But I digress. Tournament tanking's come a long way since we first saw the Twister Cup. These teams are now very, very good. Everyone takes advantage of the slightest mischance or bounces or slight edges, and you cannot get away with much at all against these players. They will take a little opportunity and turn it into a huge bit of justice. And you can see Nanolight smacking the poor old Batchat there for a full 1k roll. Vovko's down the end in the Musketeer backing him up, so Tanner can't push around. Juju's down here in the IS-7. He's just going to get absolutely monstered. There's too many tanks left, and they've lost it. No worries at all. But it's a 5-game series, plenty of tanking left here to come. Now, back to the state of tanking in general in these tournaments. When we had the Las Vegas Mobile Masters recently, you would have seen there were 4 teams there. 3 of them were from Pramo, 1 of them was from Void, and they were from Pramo Purple, and they featured these guys, like from both teams. Really, really important. That was a lack of diversity in the extreme, because those guys trained together each week, and there was not a whole lot of variation. They had the same strats. This will be better for tanking because it will force people to create outside the box. It's going to make for a more wild and varied competitive scene, and it's going to make people better. you can't just practice against your team. Your team is not just the only one out there you've got to worry about. Not to say that other teams like Void and Co can't come to the table and pump up, because I certainly know they can. They've got lots of good tankers, and I've talked to them, and they all have plans to generally play hard and play smart and get the job done. Look at this, huge changes here. Pumping through A, lot of activity going down on the southern side. The mouse sitting up the top here, RH is just really spotting and trying to stop that cap from occurring at scene. He does a great job there on Vovko. Vovko in a really tough spot. He did a good job there with the bat chat, trying to keep the cap alive. He's on 155 hit points, needs to get around that corner and reset his camo. Otherwise, he's going to eat it, and he does, because he is a snazzy little human being. Now, the real pump's coming down on A cap, and you can see Raikkonen's dropped there already. RH is going to push down, but he's ignoring this C cap now. Now, that would be a tactical decision to go down and help, because they have been caught out big style at the base of the map by a massive Iron Fist push, and really slow to respond to it as well. So they're going to be pretty unhappy. They're 2 tanks down already. They are a cap down, so they've given up a cap and 2 tanks. And Vovko, unfortunately for them, didn't eat it, and he's turned around behind them and is now starting to harry and harass. So Dark Magician Girl there in the Leopard 1 has featured in a few videos I've played on NA before. Very, very good player. Lots of good players here. Like, make no mistake, RH is now in a spot where he can do some damage. Now, if you heard my interview with Benny from Legion, who drives the mouse, predominantly mouse and IS-7 for the Legion guys, he was saying that quite often Thomas, the captain of the Legion tilt, the dictator, the bloke who decides on the tactics, will tell you, Benny, your job is to die. Your job is to die and soak up a lot of damage while you do it. So you're going to see this is a game where the mouse probably does a little bit more damage than you'd expect, but it's probably not the perfect game for them. They'd rather have had the mouse at the bottom of the map there. They want people pushing on the mouse, but at the moment the mouse is kind of in the flank farm position, and that's not effective because its DPM is nowhere near what it needs to be, despite the fact that RH is getting a lot of bounces from the Leopard 1 and Magician Girl. He's not really stopping any action over there on the flank. Doesn't have a lot of choice, mind you. It's not like he's trying not to. It's just like that horse is already bolted. So TK playing particularly well here on Castilla, changing up the tactics and really thumping hard down through that western flank. While it looked like a great tactic at the start, they did grab Vovko. The recovery was excellent, really excellent, and they've only really lost 2 tanks and not been troubled whatsoever. They managed to isolate there, which is excellent. So now 2-0 down in a best-of-5 series, going into Canal, and the guys from Pramo are really going to have to lift their game, because that was a big, big error there from them. So we've got TK up 2-0 over Pramo going into the Canal map. Now, Canal is an awesome map. Some of the best games I've ever seen in tournaments were done on this wide open, real troublemaker of a map. It gets teams in a bit of a static mess, and then they tend to explode into action. And this is no different this time out. You're going to see a big, lovely push here from Pramo during this series of games, which I found to be a lot of fun. Vovko, again, running around in the bat chat. He is a monster for that thing. He's really good at it. Pramo had him rolling the bat chat when they were running Twister. He's a very, very good bat chat driver. And much like most of the games you're going to see on Canal, you'll have a mouse rolling the middle and trying to get this thing capped. Now, it's a really tough map to cap because it's actually wide open. And it's very, very easy to spot these cap areas. But it's not easy just to put shots in on them without taking them back yourself. Now, that IS-7 TK Supernova down the bottom, he's doing the business. B Walker, the man that is not to be frivoled with in the IS-4 on the other side of the map. Lovely bloke. Spent a bit of time with him in the Vegas Mobile Masters. You've got such luminaries as Goose or Stutz, Samuel, Scumbag Juju. I mean, these are all the household names of NA tanking right here. And there's a fair few more that aren't represented right now at the present point in time. But that doesn't mean you won't see them more in future videos coming up. Now, remember, if you do want to be involved in a tournament like this, all you have to do is enter a tournament and get your tickets and then jump on in. It's completely doable. There's lots of people out there. I even went in a tournament this week. There's Bronze Series tournaments. It doesn't matter if you don't play Tier 10. There's lots of other options available. Bronze Series, Silver Series, Tier 8, Tier 6, all around the joint. And the mouse really doing the stuff here. You can see the Crimson pushing down in the M48A pattern. This thing's armor profile is ridiculous. And the call is on for Cobalt. Big hit with HE, but misses it. Just gets a 158 roll. There's Vovko pushing around in the lovely little bat chat, the Musketeer. It's 4 on 5. The boys from Pramo are down a tank. Oh, look at this thing go, the mouse. I mean, and this is good call too by Vovko and the rest of the boys, because if you are putting shots into the mouse, you're kind of wasting your DPM. It's not where you want to be putting your shots in. You effectively want to be pumping a lot easier tanks, but needs must when the devil drives, and there is absolutely no options now. They've got to go for whichever target they can get a hold of, and unfortunately that push has yielded really lovely dividends. Now the team makeup I find incredibly interesting. There was a time not so long ago where everyone in this game would have been driving IS-7s or Object 140s. And the Crimson, you never would have seen someone running around in an M48A1 pattern or Maverick pumping it in the Object 268. Not to mention the fact that the mouse was considered kind of irrelevant. It was always irreverent. It had a wicked sense of humour. But for all that, the game has come full circle. And you have so many more tanks available. Bat Chats, 268s, IS-7s, Grills, AMX 50Bs, T57 Tirelesses. Like, it's such a lovely blend. Now, Tanner in the Bat Chat asking if he should sit spawn. 2-1 now. Pramo need to take the next one. Every game is sudden death for Pramo. And much like the last game, you're going to see RH push up into the middle of the map here and look to get a cap done. And he's angling up specifically to get the cap done. He's not really worried about doing damage. He's got that. You see the house there? The reason that's not breaking, and this is a big part of tournaments, actually using your brain, is because if someone wants to reset that cap, they've got to actually hit him with HE. That's the easiest way to reset it, but they can't fire through that structure with high explosive. Now he's pulling back because the guys are really, really strong out on that D flank. They haven't capped B though, which is a big surprise. No one's gone B, or if they have, they've pulled back and backed right off. Not a lot spotted on either team here. I'd love to see it with the UI that we had at Twister, where you can see who's spotted when they're spotted, but obviously that wouldn't be, it wouldn't work here because, you know, to be honest, no one is watching this apart from the guys in game, and you can't have someone floating around in the back as a spectator. Everyone's stacking up. There's a couple of people behind A cap. There's a couple of people behind B. 4 there at the back. 2 TDs right up high on the ridge. And again, this is specific horses for courses. You couldn't go up there and say a Foch without the gun elevation. And this is one of the reasons why you're going to see a few tanks like the Foch, maybe the FV4202, tanks like that, just never really get much of a Guernsey at this level. There are great amounts of tank diversity now, but it does not cover every tank. And 4 still sitting there at the back. Now, 2 caps, they have managed to recap C, which RH was in the mouse, and are pushing around like some kind of silent justice. The boys from TK being incredibly sneaky. You can see Tanner in the bat chat with a very well-timed, sarcastic well and no wait. And now they're trying to recap B again. Now that's Raikkonen up there. He's taken a bit of a smack, and you can hear the call, rotate through. He wants to rotate, and that means they're going to turn around and try and actually make a bit of a push happen. They're going to get RH into C. Now RH is here in the mouse. He's pushing, coordinate this. I just love this. You can see how much thought and how much teamwork and how much actual energy is expanded on the mental part of the game. Far more a chess game than a Twitch Counter-Strike style first-person game. It's got a little bit of that involved, obviously. You've got to be good enough to do that. But you've really got to be an intelligent thinker. You've got to be able to get your way through this. There you go. Dark Magician Girl is there in the battle-hardened. RH pushing up. and they are now coming around. They're going to basically back up behind RH and the Mouse and be a little bit of an arrowhead. No one really spotted down there. Reich is the sole survivor left at B. If he gets pushed on, he is absolutely screwed. And this is when you're down 2-1. You've got to take chances. All the cards here are held by TK. They outplayed the Pramo boys really, really nicely on Castilla, and there are no more second chances here. They have to throw caution to the wind. They cannot afford to be behind on cap points. Hold here with only 1 cap. All the cards are currently in the hands of the boys in TK. Now, Raikkonen's been spotted over there. They can't dally too long here. If he gets found out to be isolated, they will be screwed. Tanner in the back chat calls the attack, and they are off. Dark Magician Girl there in the battle hardened. There are a lot of tanks popping now. There's the object. There's someone with 340 Alpha. There's the Crimson. And this is where the Mouse is just literally built to die. They talk about this in all the tournament teams. This tank is dead, but its job was to soak up that huge bunch of damage. And while it was soaking up the damage, the rest of the team has started to go to work. And that was the job that RH had right there. They've managed to isolate B. Walker, the monstrous man, not to be frivoled with. Geez, a man mountain. He's got shoulders like an Adonis. And pushing on up, Vovko in the back chat. He's up the top there. There's TK Supernova, the Crimson on the left-hand side. Samuel recapping C. So at least then they're not going to lose it on a cap. Very, very important. Vovko has the reload on Tanner. Tanner's trying to get away, get over the top without getting wrecked. Oh, geez, it'd be great to go back and see that. Vovko now stuck in that area on the right. Maverick wants to push down and get shots, but he knows if he does, there's an object right there. Now they have the ascendancy. They have 3 caps. They are a tank up. RH did the job, and they've managed to isolate Vovko, get 2 into him. And this is what you love about how good these guys are. You saw TK do it really, really well on Castilla. They took a tiny little envelope and turned it into a massive gaping bag of justice and death. And that's exactly what happened here with Pramo. They saw a little measure of opportunity, and once they got that extra cap and the point up, they got it. And I'd love to get Vovko and the boys on here and actually talk to them all, B. Walker, everyone, and find out some more stuff about how they're making their calls, why they're making their calls, what the falls are, where they felt like they went badly in this kind of stuff. It's just really exciting for me, and it would make a great podcast. So, boys, if you're listening, there's an open invitation from any of you to get on here and talk about tournament tanking. I really enjoy it, and it's something we've really got to pump through. 2-2, here we go, the decider. Pramo versus TK, Himmelsdorf. Now, we've seen Himmelsdorf maps before. Pramo has a strat that Mike 8 ran all the time and always wins on Himmelsdorf. The problem is everyone on the other side kind of knows that strat now. So what you're looking at is a big-ass bunch of mouses. 4 mouses on the TK side of things. 3 mouses over here. That is an awful lot. And you can see there's a mouse there running the hit point buff, not the armor buff. 2,650 hit points with the big boys running the hit point buff. Lots of pie eating. After all the great tactical talk, the rotations, everything like that, you know what this is going to come down to? A massive public style all-in brawl where things just go absolutely hog wild. This is great. Look at this. Everyone just drive into ACAP and smash each other as hard as humanly possible. It's hilarious. Look at the tanks. There's just Vovko's in a mouse. I haven't seen him in a mouse for months. He's normally running around in the bat chat. Himmelsdorf is not for your unsubtle tanking. It is for let's get stuck in. The E4 trying to be effective, but there's a lot of armor to get past here. The mouses are really immobile, and look, they've got stuck. RH is coming up on the flank. They've managed to clear B. Walker. There's Supernova, the Crimson King. They are stuck between a rock and a hard place, and they've caught them out here. This is really good. Here comes the flanking move around the back. TK sent 1 M48 around, and it's got there too late by the looks of it. And when you're in a medium tank and you roll up and you just see a cubic buttload of fat German pie-eating mouse, and like all that to pen through, all those hit points to go through. I mean, the M48 from TK can't even get through because there's just so many dead tanks around here. I thought this was an absolutely glorious end to what had been, up until now, some really fine finesse gameplay from both sides. And then it just turned into a huge game of drive forward and smack each other, which is awesome. Well played, both teams. Really, really impressive stuff. NA tanking is in a really good place. There's probably going to be a little bit of a rivalry going on. The TKV Pramo v Purple v Bloody Void v everyone. So if you're interested and you want to get in one of these tanks and you want to start playing tournaments, there's a lot of material out there now. There's a big interview with Benny on the Twister Cup. There's going to be a lot more of these videos coming down the pipe too. Until next time, I love you guys, and I love the fact that you guys put so much work into it and just come up with these fantastic strats. Look after yourselves, stay safe on the battlefield, and be nice to each other. Bye for now.